There's a peculiar madness in the air. You can feel it in the scroll. The endless scroll, the feeds that promise connection, but deliver only comparison. The algorithms that know what you want before you do. The notifications that pull at your attention like fishing hooks in flesh. You can feel it in the rush. The productivity hacks, the optimization, the 5 a.m. wake-ups, and the hustle harder, and the never quite enough. It's November 2025, and we're more connected than ever before. More informed than ever before. More capable than ever before. And yet, we are drowning in an ocean of anxiety, gasping for a security that never comes. Fade, hopeless. Alan Watts died 52 years ago today. November 16th, 1973. But his voice echoes louder now than perhaps it ever did, because he understood something fundamental about the human condition, something we desperately need to remember in this age of artificial intelligence, climate catastrophe, and infinite digital distraction. He understood that we are at war with ourselves, and that this war cannot be won, only surrendered. Section 1. The illusion of control. Listen carefully to this. Everything you think you are, every carefully constructed identity, every role you play, every boundary you draw between yourself and the world, is a hallucination, not a poetic metaphor, not a philosophical abstraction, a hallucination. You imagine yourself as a separate thing, a little driver inside a vehicle of flesh, a ghost in a machine, an I that came into this world, that exists apart from it, that must fight it to survive. But this is backwards. You didn't come into this world. You came out of it, like a wave comes out of the ocean, like an apple grows from a tree. You are something the entire universe is doing, right here, right now, in this particular form. The separation is imaginary. The boundary between you and everything else is conceptual. Useful, perhaps, like a map is useful. But a map is not the territory. And you have been staring at the map so long, you've forgotten about the territory entirely. This is the illusion of the ego, the sense of being a separate self, isolated and vulnerable, pitted against an indifferent cosmos. And from this illusion springs everything else. The grasping, the controlling, the endless, exhausting attempt to make life obey you. You tried to control your career, your relationships, your body, your thoughts, your feelings, the opinions others have of you, the future that hasn't happened yet, the past that's already gone. You live in your head, endlessly narrating, judging, planning, worrying, thinking about thinking, analyzing your analysis. A hall of mirrors that never ends. And the more you try to control, the more out of control you feel. Because here's the paradox Watts kept pointing to. The paradox that's carved into the very fabric of existence. When you attempt to exercise power over someone else, you give them that same power over you. When you try to dominate life, life dominates you. When you clench your fist around water, the water slips away. The tighter you grip, the less you hold. Think about your anxieties right now, the things that keep you up at night, the futures you're terrified of, the security you're desperately trying to build. Now ask yourself this. How much energy are you spending on that security? How much of your life force is being burned up in the effort to make yourself safe? Watts said it clearly. Most of our energy is wasted in anxious self-defense and micromanagement. We're like a person swimming who panics and starts thrashing, using 10 times the energy needed to stay afloat, and in the thrashing begins to drown. But the moment you stop, The moment you cease clinging to yourself, stop forcing life to obey your will, something extraordinary happens. That wasted energy becomes available, not for more control, but for something far more powerful: presence, creativity, response, flow. Watch how water moves. It doesn't resist, it doesn't fight. It flows around obstacles. It finds the path of least resistance. And in that yielding, it carves canyons through stone. This is the power Watts spoke of. Not the brittle power of the tyrant who must control everything, but the flexible power of one who moves with reality instead of against it. When you swim, you don't grab hold of the water. If you do, you sink, you drown. Instead, you relax, you float, you let the water hold you. The same is true for living. Section 2. Fear and the future that never comes. Let's talk about fear. You're afraid right now, aren't you? Maybe not consciously, maybe not dramatically, but there's a low hum of anxiety running through your nervous system. A background radiation of worry about money, about health, about relationships, about meaning, about whether you're doing enough, being enough, accomplishing enough, about the future. Always the future. Here's what Watts understood that most people miss. Running away from fear is fear. Fighting pain is pain. Trying to be brave is being scared. You cannot conquer fear by opposing it. You cannot think your way out of anxiety. You cannot build a fortress strong enough to keep out uncertainty. Because the fortress itself becomes a prison, and the enemy you're fighting is you. The fear of death haunts us. Not just literal death, though that too, but the death of who we think we are. The end of our plans. The collapse of our certainties. The dissolution of the carefully constructed life we've built. So we spend our days trying to make ourselves permanent, trying to freeze time, trying to guarantee outcomes. But everything you grasp at is already slipping away. The present moment is constantly becoming the past. The future you're planning for exists only in imagination. And the you that's afraid of dying isn't even real. It's just a thought pattern, a habit of mind, a story you tell yourself. Watts had a meditation he recommended. He said, "Regard yourself as dead already. You are virtually nothing. 100 years from now, you'll be dust. Act on that reality, and out of that nothing, you will suddenly surprise yourself. The more you know you're nothing, the more you'll amount to something." This sounds dark, nihilistic even, but it's the opposite. When you truly accept your mortality, when you stop running from the fact that you're temporary, fragile, fundamentally uncertain, something breaks open. The fear loses its grip because there's nothing to protect anymore. No permanent self to defend. No future to guarantee. No death to avoid, because in a sense, you're already dead. And in that acceptance, in that deep surrender, you find yourself finally, actually alive. Not living for tomorrow, not replaying yesterday, but here, now, breathing, sensing, experiencing this moment, which is the only moment that ever was or will be. Section 3. The Shadow and the Light. Now we arrive at something uncomfortable. Something most people, most spiritual teachings, most self-help gurus, most motivational content would rather skip over. Your darkness. You have a shadow, we all do. It's the part of you that's selfish, aggressive, petty, lustful, envious, cruel. The part that wants what it wants without caring about consequences. The part that would hurt someone if it served you. The part that's capable of terrible things. And your first instinct is to deny it, to push it down, to pretend you're not that kind of person, to project it outward onto others. Those people are evil. Those people are the problem. Those people are the enemy. But Watts, following Jung, understood something crucial. What you resist persists. What you condemn in yourself doesn't disappear, it goes underground. It becomes more powerful, more destructive, precisely because it's unacknowledged. Jung looked at his own darkness without flinching. He knew himself to be as much a villain as anyone else. He accepted his irreducible rascality, his capacity for pettiness and selfishness and worse. And because he accepted it, he wasn't driven by it. Because he owned his shadow, it didn't own him. This is the paradox of integration, the paradox of wholeness. You cannot change anything unless you accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. It drives the thing you hate deeper into the basement of your psyche, where it grows teeth. But when you turn toward your darkness with honest, compassionate attention, when you say, "Yes, I have this in me too," something miraculous happens. The shadow loses its power. The demon becomes an ally. The energy that was tied up in denial becomes available for growth. Think of it like this. Behind every rose is manure, the very thing you'd call disgusting, shameful, waste. It's what feeds the beauty. It's what makes the fragrance possible. Your shadow is your fertilizer. Your darkness is what makes your light meaningful. You cannot have mountains without valleys. You cannot have up without down. You cannot have the hero without the villain, the saint without the sinner. They're not opposites. They're poles of the same thing, two sides of one coin. And the coin is you. Watts saw that much of our suffering comes from trying to be all good, all pure, all light, from trying to eliminate the bad side of ourselves, from waging an internal war against our own nature. But this war is unwinnable, because you need both sides. The universe needs both sides. Light and dark define each other. If you could somehow eliminate all darkness, you'd eliminate all light too. If you could somehow be perfectly good, you'd cease to be human at all. You'd be a cardboard cutout, a robot, a pretense. So here's the invitation. Stop pretending. Stop performing purity. Stop hiding your shadow and projecting it onto others. Look at it. Really look. The anger, the jealousy, the selfishness, the parts of you that are petty and small and wounded. And instead of condemning them, ask, what are they protecting? What are they trying to tell me? What would happen if I let them speak? This doesn't mean acting on every dark impulse. It means acknowledging them, owning them, integrating them. Because the villain you refuse to face inside yourself will find a way out, through passive aggression, through sudden eruptions of rage, through self-sabotage, through the very thing you judge in others. But the shadow you befriend, that becomes wisdom, humor, humanity, depth. That becomes the fuel for your actual growth, not the performance of growth. Section 4. The manipulation of reality. Let's go deeper. You don't live in reality, you live in your perception of reality. And your perception is heavily edited, carefully curated, fundamentally distorted by thought, by language, by culture, by fear. Watts called this Maya, illusion. Not that the world doesn't exist, but that the way you experience it, as separate things, as fixed categories, as a stage on which you perform, is a mental construct. You were taught to see the world as separate from you. Nature over there, you over here. Other people as other. Your body as something you inhabit, like a car you drive. But look closer. Where exactly is the boundary between you and the air you breathe? Between you and the food that becomes your flesh? Between you and the sunlight that feeds the plants that feed you? The line is arbitrary, conceptual, useful for certain purposes, but not ultimately real. You are a process, not a thing, a happening, not a noun. You are what the entire cosmos is doing at this particular place, in this particular way, right now. But you've forgotten this. You've believed the illusion so completely that it's become your prison. Here's how the manipulation happens. You think in words. Words are symbols. Symbols are not the things they represent. The menu is not the meal. The map is not the territory. But you've confused them. You live in a world of abstractions. Money, career, success, happiness, meaning. And you've forgotten that these are just concepts. They're not things you can touch or taste. They're measures, not solids. Surfaces, not depths. You've become like someone who eats the menu and wonders why they're still hungry. And the worst part? You do this to yourself. You create a self-image, who you think you are, who you want others to think you are, who you're supposed to be. And then you try to live up to it. You trap yourself in words, in stories, in roles. And every moment that reality doesn't match your self-image creates suffering, creates anxiety, creates that nagging sense that something is wrong. But nothing is wrong. You're just fighting with a phantom. You're trying to make your actual, living, breathing, messy, complicated experience match up with an abstract picture in your head. It's like trying to make the ocean hold still so it matches the photograph you took. It can't be done, and the attempt is making you insane. The way out is simple. Not easy, but simple. Stop thinking for a moment. Just stop. Put down the constant narration, the labeling, the judging, the planning. Just look, just listen, just feel. Be aware of life as it is right now, without any ideas about it. This is what Watts meant by awareness. Not thinking about experience, just experiencing experience, being it. And when you do this, even for a moment, you discover something shocking. Most of your problems don't exist. They were conceptual. They were stories. They were mental movies playing in an imaginary future or ruminating on an unchangeable past. But here, now, in this actual moment of direct experience, there is no problem. There is only what is. And what is enough. Section 5. The Wisdom of Insecurity. We arrive now at the heart of it all, the reason this matters, the reason Watts's voice is so urgently needed in 2025. You are living in the most uncertain time in human history. Climate is changing in ways we can't predict. Technology is advancing faster than we can adapt to. The old structures of work, of meaning, of community, of identity are crumbling. And you want security. Of course you do. You want guarantees. You want to know that everything will be okay, that you'll be safe, that the future is manageable. But here's what Watts understood. The demand for security is what creates insecurity. The attempt to make yourself safe is what makes you feel unsafe. Listen. You are trying to isolate yourself from life, to separate yourself from the flow, to build a fortress where you can be protected from change, from uncertainty, from death. But life is change. Reality is flux. Existence is impermanence. And by walling yourself off from uncertainty, you wall yourself off from life itself. You create a prison and call it safety. You create numbness and call it peace. You create a living death and wonder why you feel so empty. The wisdom of insecurity is this: security is impossible. The universe is fundamentally uncertain. Everything changes. Everything passes. Nothing lasts. And this is not a tragedy. This is not a problem to solve. This is the very nature of existence. And it's what makes life possible. If everything was permanent, nothing could grow, nothing could move, nothing could be born. If everything was certain, there would be no possibility, no potential, no freedom. The insecurity you're running from is the very thing that gives life its aliveness. So what do? You stop running, you stop fighting, you stop trying to make life obey you. You open your hand, you relax your grip, you let go, not into passivity, not into resignation, but into participation. You stop trying to stand apart from the river of existence, analyzing it, controlling it, fearing it. You step into the current. You become the flow. And suddenly you discover something astonishing. When you're not separate from life, there's no one who can be hurt. When you're not defending a territory, there's no territory to lose. When you're not clinging to a future, there's no disappointment. There's just this. Just now. Just the eternal present moment, which is the only thing that ever was or ever will be. You came out of this world, not into it. You are this world, not separate from it. The boundaries you think define you are permeable, negotiable, ultimately imaginary. The control you're seeking is an illusion. The security you're chasing is a mirage. The fear you're running from is a shadow. But the present moment, the actual living, breathing now, that is real, that is solid, that is the door of heaven, and it's always open. Alan Watts spent his life pointing at this truth in every way he could, through philosophy and poetry and humor and paradox, through words that tried to destroy themselves, to show you what lies beyond words. He wasn't offering a system. He wasn't giving you something to believe. He was trying to wake you up from the dream of separation, from the hallucination of the isolated ego, from the futile war against existence itself. And his message is more relevant now than ever, because you are drowning in information, but starving for wisdom. You are connected to everyone, but present with no one. You are optimized for productivity, but have forgotten how to live. So, here is what I ask of you. For one moment, stop. Stop scrolling. Stop planning. Stop defending. Stop performing. Just be here. Just this. Just now. Feel your breath. Feel your body. Feel the aliveness of existence moving through you. And in that moment, recognize you are not a separate self that came into this world. You are what the whole universe is doing, right here, where you are. You are the eyes through which the cosmos sees itself, the ears through which it hears itself, the consciousness through which existence becomes aware of its own existence. There is nothing to protect, nothing to control, nothing to fear. There is only this eternal now, forever arriving, forever departing, forever absolutely present. And you are it. You always were. You always will be. Let go and see what happens. If you enjoyed this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more. Thank you.